Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Whatever time it is when you hear this message, I pray that you're poised to receive, to accept, and to respond to words of wisdom. Hashem. Doing the hard thing is absolutely necessary in order for you to be the highest version of yourself possible. When I think about actually ascending the throne of destiny and being able to manifest the fullness of my destiny and being the best version of myself, I recognize that it is indispensable. It's absolutely obligatory that I do the hard thing. Okay, I've got to do the hard thing. And so when I say do the hard thing, let me create a little bit of context. One way in which I know that I'm going to have to do the hard thing is in the wake of a mistake that I have made, right? So I make mistakes. And sometimes I make big mistakes. Sometimes I make small mistakes. But either way, when I make a mistake and I recognize that I have made a mistake, then the hard thing for me to do is I got to correct that mistake. All right. And that's really difficult because people treat mistakes like just unforgivable blemishes, right? People will judge you. People will condemn you. People will slander you. People will gossip about you. People will try to drag you through the mud and hold you as the worst thing in the world because you have committed a mistake, right? And so as a result, we are reluctant to acknowledge our mistakes. I am reluctant to acknowledge my mistake. And so that's what makes addressing mistakes and correcting mistakes this supreme opportunity to do the hard thing. All right. So, for example, when we look at the deities, we get this supreme template for making mistakes and doing the hard thing. If you start to study the lives of the divinities, you look at the life of Obatala, you see that Obatala becomes Orishanla because he made a mistake, right? He was in charge of creation. He got drunk. He kept creating people under the influence, and he made people with deformities. He takes ownership of that, and then he makes those people his special, wards. He looks after all of the people who have deformities. Ogun makes terrible mistakes, right? He goes on a killing spree, ends up killing his own people, but then he accounts for that. He takes ownership of that, and he ends up tending to the towns. He says, from now on, you know what? I'll only come when you call me, and I will fight for you. Oromila, Oshun, Olokun, Oya, all of the Orisha, they have made mistakes far greater than any of us as human beings will ever make. But in spite of that fact, we continue to venerate Obatala. We continue to venerate Oya. We continue to venerate Oshun, Shango, Ogun. We continue to venerate them. Okay? Not because they force us to, but because they did the hard thing and they took ownership of their mistakes. So this is the example. This is where we start talking about Orisha lifestyle. The lifestyle of the Orisha has built into it an understanding that you are going to make mistakes, but you've got to do the hard thing and address those mistakes. That is how you elevate. All right. So you make a mistake. I make a mistake. I got to go and I have to go and apologize. You know what? I don't even think that the person or the people in question are going to accept my apology, but I am going to apologize. Okay? That's what I need to do to address the mistake. That is not just correcting the mistake, that is facing the fact that I have to do the hard thing. I've got to do the hard thing. If I want to elevate, I got to do the hard thing. If I want to get deeper, I got to do the hard thing. If I want to be a more robust, well-grounded, rooted, serious version of myself, if I want to be able to take myself seriously, I got to do the hard thing. In another instance, what doing the hard thing means that somebody is not ready. I'm looking at somebody and I can see that you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going out too early. You're going too fast. You're going too far left. You're going too far right. You think that you got something that you don't have. You think you're surrounded by people who are not really who you think they are. But I have to let you go out and test your own reasoning. And I have to watch you flounder. I have to watch you fumble. I have to watch you stumble. I have to watch you fall. I have to let you take the test. That's doing the hard thing, because I don't want to see you suffer like that. I don't want to see you make that mistake. But I got to do the hard thing and let you take that journey. Conversely, I might have to intervene on somebody's behalf. In spite of the fact that this person has been blatantly disrespectful, this person has done everything they think possibly can to earn, to be written off. However, I know that this person is in desperate need. I'm all you got. So I need to intervene on your behalf in spite of the fact that you have blatantly disrespected me. That's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do, but I've got to do it. And in these instances, when I've got to do the hard thing, what makes it hard is the fact that I don't know how it's going to turn out. That's what makes it harder, because it would be hard to issue that apology. It would be hard to, let the person fumble. It would be hard to intervene in the life of the disrespectful person. But what makes it harder is the fact that I'm going to do this and I don't know what the end result is going to be. I don't know how this is really going to benefit me. I don't know if the even if the impact is going to be, even if I don't even know if the impact on the other person or the other group of people is going to be what I want it to be. But I have to do it because I know that's the right thing to do. Right? That's what makes it even more difficult. And so I live the anxiety of that moment. Maybe my throat gets tight. My breathing gets shallow. Maybe I got tension in my neck. My mind starts to just race, and I'm thinking about this, and I'm thinking about that, and I'm thinking, what if, and that risk is so pronounced in the moment leading up to doing the hard thing that I'm so tempted to back out. I'm so tempted to just skirt it, right? But I'll tell you with total certainty and absolute sincerity that so far I got no regrets. I have no regrets for doing the hard thing. Nobody knows about the hard thing that I had to do. Nobody knows how hard it was for me, but nobody needs to know. Only I need to know. Right? And so this is an essential lesson, because life is an interesting journey that it takes a while for you to get a real full assessment of all of the things that make you who you are. When I look back on my life and I think about the ways in which I have been able to ascend, and the ways I've been able to accomplish, the ways I've been able to become and transform into the kind of person that I have always wanted to be, you know, it has taken me years to really calculate. But in doing the hard thing, I'm reminded, you know what? I've had this experience before. I recognize this feeling. I recognize this flow of emotion. I recognize this train of thought, this sequence of experiences. Oh yeah, I've done this before. I've done this before. I've done this before. This has been a characteristic of my life from a very long time ago. Doing the hard thing. When I was little, I remember my mother used to sing a song with us. And I think it came from like Sesame Street or something, but it was like, everyone makes mistakes, so yes, they do. Your sister and your brother and your dad and mommy too. Big people, small people, matter of fact, all people. Everyone makes mistakes, so yes, they do, right? Then it goes on, it's a little song. If you're not old enough to know that song, you can, I'm sure, plug it in on YouTube and it'll come up somewhere. But my mind took me all the way back to being very young and receiving the instruction from my mother about being able to own mistakes, but more deeply than just owning mistakes is doing the hard thing. Doing the hard thing. Your character is formed by doing the hard thing. People will make out that, your character is determined by how good you look, how nice you look, how favorable people, speak of you, right? And of course, if you're generally a good person, then, it stands to reason that a lot of people will speak favorably of you. But the real development of your character, it comes from you being able to do the hard thing. Irregardless of what other people think, irregardless of what other people say. Condition yourself to do the hard thing. Make it your habit to do the hard thing. Because at the end of the day, when I project myself into the future and I look back and I say, how do I want to be able to talk to myself about the way I addressed this situation? How do I want to be able to talk to myself about the way I addressed that situation? Did I really do the best that I could with what I had in every situation? I want to be able to say to myself, yes, I wasn't perfect. I wasn't flawless. But when I had to do the hard thing, according to what my conscience said, I did the hard thing. I honored that inner voice. And therefore, that's how I maintain my integrity. That's how I take a step into wholeness. When I say integrity, I'm talking about wholeness. When something is integral, it's whole. And so living according to my conscience is amplifying my integrity. And it doesn't happen just one time, and it isn't totally obliterated one time. I have to take thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of steps and thousands of decisions that reinforce my conscience. And that requires that I do the hard thing by habit, as a habit. All right. So this is a lesson for the leaders. If you're someone who wants to improve the world through positive influence, I'm talking to you. I want you to join me, Obafemi Origuwa, in the Orisha Lifestyle Academy. Visit me at obafemio.com or orishalifestyle.com. Get enrolled. Join me on social media. Get my books. Let's start working together to help you live the medicine that will heal your life and heal the lives of those who you are destined to serve. I look forward to working with you. Bye for now. Odabo.